clerk will call the roll.
Favorably to the floor.
Favorably to the floor. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Grassley.
Aye.
Mr. Cornyn.
Aye.
Mr. Lee.
Aye.
Mr. Cruz. Mr. Sass.
Aye.
Mr. Hawley.
Aye.
Mr. Tillis.
Aye.
Ms. Ernst.
Aye.
Mr. Crapo.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Feinstein. Mr. Leahy. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Whitehouse. Ms. Klobuchar. Mr. Coons. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Hirono. Mr. Booker. Ms. Harris. Mr. Chairman.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, the votes are 12 yeas, 10 no votes.
The nomination will be reported favorably to the floor with a unanimous vote.
And just like that, Judge Amy Coney Barrett makes it out of the hearing, the committee, the Judicial Committee, with a vote of 12-0. Democrats put up theatrical resistance, putting up poster boards of people who they say will be hurt by this nomination. This is going to go to the full floor of the Senate, where Republicans clearly have the votes to make it work. Apparently, there's going to be a test vote on Sunday that Mitch McConnell is pushing through. And on Monday, it'll be held up for the full Senate vote to confirm Judge Barrett. Again, Democrats have no power to stop this that I'm aware of. And it's expected that if not on Monday, soon thereafter, this woman will be added to the court. This is a great time. I mean, looks like Lindsey Graham is about to cry here. I mean, he's been known to shed tears. But this is triumphant Republican Party.
We did it. I'd be glad to listen to any comments you'd like to make. But we did it. We did it. Judge Barrett's going to the floor. I hope you look back on this time on the committee and say, I was there when it mattered, and you were. I'll be glad to.
Very true. You were there when it mattered. You're going to look back at this and you're going to say, wow, they were able to gut Obamacare. They were able to gut Roe v. Wade. And they were able to even put Trump back on the bench, back in the presidency, when the election went tits up and it went to the Supreme Court, as it inevitably, it's thought it might go with the dealing with the vote totals that are taking place from the standpoint of mail-in ballots and whatnot. And yeah, we were there when all of that happened. Man, I bet Democrats greatly miss Merrick Garland right now. And they are greatly angry that Obama didn't fight like hell to get Merrick Garland in that spot, as opposed to Trump getting 3 choices. Trump would have only gotten 2 choices, and the balance wouldn't be this lopsided in regards to a conservative Supreme Court. On top of that, is Joe Biden, does he have the stones to challenge the court? And I strongly suspect the answer is no. But who knows? Some Democrats might be spoiling for a fight. If Biden wins, he will have numbers in the Senate and he will have numbers in the House, meaning I have a hard time believing that people are going to vote for Biden, then turn around and vote for a Republican. If anything, it will be probably down ticket more than anything else, meaning they may actually get numbers. The catch is, what does that mean in the context of a Democratic Party that doesn't really stand for anything? Either way, what it looks like is Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be going into Congress. And I'm sorry, will be on the court, Supreme Court. And sooner rather than later, she will be put up for a vote. And keep in mind, this is not just the basic 3 that we know of that she could be influential on. I think the Obamacare vote goes up November 10th, I believe. Yeah, I mean, all these things are dramatic, right? You get into environmental law, you get into tax law, you get into corporate power, all of those things. And she a well-financed effort to get her to this particular point, for her to be plucked at all, anyway, in the first place, will be dramatically influential on all of these things, since she will be basically dragging the court to the right. Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, by the way, this is Democrats' more theatrical
to the Supreme
opposition. Right here. Look at Feinstein for the moment. She was giving out massive amounts of praise to Lindsey Graham in the hearing. It's just funny seeing her back there like this. But either way, that's why I used that picture for the header. But let's hear Schumer make his pitch. I mean, this is the team that failed, right? Let's hear the losing team, the failing team, the team that couldn't get their people through, and the team that lost to this reality show host. Let's hear these guys. Here's the catch. If Hillary Clinton would have appropriated policy that would have organically brought people to her cause, you wouldn't have all of these losses, and you wouldn't have these people being installed in the Supreme Court right now, and you wouldn't have Democrats wagging their fingers, angry and upset, belligerent failures, bitter enders. These people are going to be on the Supreme Court for the rest of their life. Short of anybody doing anything, which the Republicans are not going to do anything, and Democrats don't have the stones to do it anyway. But let's hear the losers. These are the losers.
I am here to stand with my colleagues on the Judiciary Committee who are boycotting today's committee markup on the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. This is not a decision the members of the committee have taken lightly, but a Republican majority has left us no choice. We are boycotting this illegitimate hearing. The nomination of Amy Coney Barrett is the most illegitimate process I have ever witnessed in the Senate.
And yet, despite you claiming it's illegitimate, she will be installed on the Supreme Court. Meaning, it doesn't quite seem that you know what the term illegitimate means. What you're trying to get at is that these guys are just trying to shoehorn her in, but illegitimate, no. She will be a legitimate member of the Supreme Court, just like any other member on the Supreme Court. You guys are failures. And screaming that she's illegitimate from the sidelines, I'm sorry, the members of your party should be viciously angry at you. Viciously so. You lost a race to reality show hosts. Even now, you just kind of coast. Nobody quite knowing what you stand for and what you represent outside of the fact they know you don't stand for and represent them. And you are coasting basically entirely off of how bad Trump is. So instead of the Democratic Party and the members of that party say, we want X or we want Y or we demand X or we demand Y, it's Trump is horrible, so fall in line. And that has been the pitch. That was a pitch back then in 2016 when you guys failed miserably and Trump got his 3 picks for the Supreme Court. And what did you do? Blame Russia. Blame Stein. Instead of blaming yourselves and blaming your party. All of this is your fault. You, Pelosi, Clinton, and the rest of the party. He gets these picks because you failed so miserably. You wanted to have a least worst contest. And the public wasn't looking for least worst contests. They were looking for something drastically different than the status quo that you, your party, and the other members offered, where you would basically cry their pain while the same token sticking your hands in your pockets. You work for the interests of the upper class every bit as much as the Republican Party. They're just more honest about it. from the standpoint of Donald Trump, look, Joe Biden may win this. You have a president that has lost over 200,000 lives. Then, yeah, the person who was in office at that time, the buck pretty much stops with him. But that doesn't really say anything about you all. And the greatest detriment to this country has been that we don't have this expectation that politicians are supposed to get our vote instead, especially from the standpoint of Democrats. You throw yourselves at the politicians, creating ineffectual politicians. And not just ineffectual politicians. When those politicians don't necessarily push for policy that deals with the real material ends, that is this incrementalism nonsense, public recognizes that and leaves to get disenchanted with the political space. Why do you think Democrats have to continuously go out and tell people, I know our candidate is a crap, but vote anyway? Why does Obama have to go out and make speeches like that? He has to make speeches like that because the candidates are crap. And that it's entirely a nanometer less than whatever the Republican is, using that as a pragmatic barometer to try to get in office. Even in a case of a situation to a degree of the Great Depression and beyond, it's still, you don't have an expectation that your candidates are supposed to work in your interests and supposed to do material, real things based on policy. You have this notion that you throw yourself at the candidate in order to protect you from the Republicans. I'm saying, not only does that get you ineffectual politicians, you also have the effect of people leaving the political space because they don't believe politics works in their interests. It's a double whammy. But this video is not about that. This video is about Amy Coney Barrett pretty much going to the full floor for Senate vote, at which point, unless something traumatic happens between now and Monday, she would most likely be confirmed. Like, share,